I am divorcing you, no matter what you say. The luggage should arrive today or tomorrow, as it was dispatched yesterday. My living partner will be my affair partner. Is 5 cents worth of compensation enough? A decent mate? Does that imply that you cheated? I'm saying that, so please go out of here. I mean, it's okay with me, but huh? My spouse continues sending bags to our house, and they keep coming. The majority of it is made up of accessories, apparel, and fashion-related things for young ladies. There are even a few branded bags that my spouse probably bought. Alara is my name. I am employed for a reputable firm and am 28 years old. As a member of the secretarial department, I work as the managing director's secretary, who also happens to be the president's son. I complete my task with diligence each day. The managing director then unexpectedly made a proposal to me one day. After everything went smoothly, we made the decision to tie the knot that autumn. Jackson is the name of my spouse. Let's have lots of kids once we get married, he exclaims with enthusiasm. You're getting ahead of yourself, I reply. Our kids alone could form a baseball team, he believes. To which I quip, Oh, Jackson, spare me. Jackson is therefore quite eager to create a family. Even yet, I still think Jackson, who is my age, may be a little immature at times. I've been using contraceptives covertly. Despite the fact that having lots of kids could be enjoyable, I know it will drain me. Thus, even if we end up with many children, my intention is to keep the number to 3, with a maximum of 2 years between deliveries. Since our marriage, Jackson has advanced to the position of senior managing director very quickly, and the firm has high hopes that he will take over as president in the near future. Jackson's father used to be the president of the firm where I worked. My father-in-law, who is now the chairman, is a very amazing man. I worked in the secretary's department, therefore I also interacted with Jackson while he was the managing director. We have had a staffing shortage in our secretarial office ever since you departed your job. We find ourselves stuck. Well, Dad, I can do this job with anyone. That is accurate. Well, I'm happy that you wed my son. It's a big setback for the business. Dad, the battery won't make a difference. My father-in-law's remarks, nevertheless, did appear to have some merit, because the secretarial department is constantly busy. My resignation meant that I was replaced as secretary by a young woman whose only skill seemed to be being attractive. This is what my father-in-law told me. Hey, how's it going, new secretary? Yes, she is, in her own way, doing her hardest. It's still an ongoing project. Out of curiosity, I also quietly questioned my spouse, and he seemed to be keeping a tender eye on her. It appears stress-free, and Jackson treats me nicely, so maybe it's okay. That is, I believed. However, since his promotion, Jackson's workload has greatly grown, and he has progressively been more stern with me. It's probably because I have more duties now, and maybe this is the point where my work really counts. After all, I came into a marriage with the responsibility of supporting my spouse. I had set aside plans to become a mother. Jackson appeared a little melancholy one day. Listen, this is the last time I'll need a packed lunch. What? Why? The senior managing director believes that eating a packed lunch is embarrassing. I'm going to start going out to dine with my coworkers. I understand. Recognized. What is the issue? Concerned about the cost of lunch? I didn't say that. Well, that's the reality. You are no longer required to prepare lunch. His remarks were a little depressing. I was doing my hardest to balance Jackson's diet, but I guess he has his own social responsibilities. That's why I stopped packing sandwiches the next day. After that, he began criticizing me for additional issues. There were creases in the clothes, the housekeeping was not up to snuff, and the kids were still missing. Though I think I've cleaned and laundered everything well, it doesn't appear to have reached him. I'd frequently pondered what could be bothering Jackson, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't figure it out. Maybe there's something going on that I'm missing. Days of internal conflict persisted. I even asked my mother-in-law for advice. Just like my father-in-law, she's kind to me. So what is the purpose of the consultation? Is there a problem? Well, I'm not sure why Jackson seems a little strange lately. I understand. Maybe I raised him too forgivingly. I'm sorry, but he can be really self-centered. No, it's not your responsibility. He's an adult now. I'll speak with him when I have the opportunity to make sure he doesn't bother you. That's all right. I'll wait for the appropriate moment to question him because it may be a marital matter. Really? Are you certain? Please don't hesitate to contact me in the event of anything. I'm grateful. Ultimately, I went back home without asking my mother-in-law for assistance. But I believe this was for the best, since I was afraid Jackson would pout again if he found out I'd confided in her. I had that thought until something unexpected occurred. My spouse found it challenging to commute from home after being allocated to a client firm. He therefore started working alone for around a month. Since it had been so difficult to deal with my husband's emotions every day, I must admit that I was a little glad. He was never a drinker, but he began to drink and would spout nasty remarks or pick at my housework. He would have trouble waking up in the morning the day after drinking, sometimes skipping work. It appeared as though his competitive advantage was eroding. Maybe this environment shift would be beneficial for him as well. I hope it gives him a much-needed break and makes him the loving spouse he always was. After my spouse left, around 2.5 weeks later, something else occurred. My health declined, but maybe it was because I relaxed my guard while he wasn't there. Experiencing a fever, I went to see my usual physician. I was surprised to learn that I was expecting a child. The idea of becoming a parent brought me true joy. Maybe this will be the turning point for Jackson to become a loving dad. It seemed as if this small one had made our house a happier place. I was just thinking about telling my spouse I was pregnant when I discovered he was coming back in 2 weeks. Instead of exchanging messages via phone or email, I preferred to see his face and experience our happiness together in person. I made the decision to wait for him to return, but I really wanted someone to confide in. I made the discreet decision to tell my in-laws the truth. They were really excited about my well-being and worried about me as they would soon become grandparents for the first time. Having already spoken to me about my husband's recent mood swings, my mother-in-law promised to watch him. My spouse suddenly decided to remain longer than planned as the much-anticipated return approached, which prevented me from speaking to him for a few days. Something didn't feel quite right. I went to his office, following my gut feeling. I have a pressing item to attend to. May I talk to my husband? In response, the office personnel said, Smith, the senior managing director, has already returned to his company. Does that mean his assignment has ended? Yes, but is everything okay? Taken aback, I made a hasty substitution. Oh, it would be so humiliating. I misinterpreted. I'm sorry, but everything is good. What ought I to do? Now where is he? I'm concerned since there has been no answer. It would probably get worse if I talked to my mother-in-law or father-in-law. In addition, I didn't want to have unstable emotions when I was pregnant. So I thought I would give calling my husband's cell phone another go. I was shocked when he unexpectedly called the next day, having not spoken for days. Startled, I picked up the phone right away. Jackson, where are you right now? Anywhere works really great. You contacted me, which is why I phoned. It's not fine anywhere. What in the world is going on? I want a divorce. What? The unexpected news of the divorce had me stunned. My spouse then continued with more startling remarks. I'm getting a divorce, no matter what you say. Since the baggage was shipped yesterday, it ought to get here today or tomorrow. My lover and I will be living together. Is 5 cents enough to make up for it? A partner in an affair? Is that an indication that you cheated? That's what I'm saying, so please leave. Tears started to flow because every phrase felt like a punch to my heart. My spouse quickly hung up the phone after communicating only what was absolutely required. He seemed to have disconnected when I tried to phone him back right away. I felt both angry and sad at the same time. Although it may have appeared from the outside that our marriage was a marriage into fortune, I have worked hard for it. Despite my perseverance and hard work, I feel like this conclusion is really unjust. Furthermore, my spouse is requesting that I leave as he wants to wed his mistress. The suggested pay? Merely 5 cents, a negligibly little sum. Moreover, I am a mother to my husband's child. Such treatment cannot in any way be justified. An underlying rage welled up inside of me. I have no one I can really confide in at times like this. I had no siblings, and my parents died in an accident the year I started working. I do have friends, but none of them are close enough to share the embarrassment of my family with me. I made the independent decision to think about getting vengeance on my spouse. But as far as seeking an ally goes, I already knew who I wanted. Hi, Alara. Has Jackson come back, I take it? What's up with him? Is he feeling well? The following day, my mother-in-law expressed worry. My spouse didn't seem to have told his parents about the circumstances, maybe because he was too focused on his new partner. Mom, I stammered. What's not right? Has anything occurred? Was there anything he did? I made the uncomfortable decision to tell my in-laws everything. The derogatory comments and nasty statements I've heard, his perception of me as little more than a pregnant woman, and the final blow, the abrupt divorce announcement without any notice from his assignment site. Though astonished, my mother-in-law gave reassuring words. Ilara, I apologize. There's no need for an apology. I appreciate you informing me, Mom. I'll talk to my spouse about this in detail. But if you do that, Jackson's position at work. What does that matter after treating you so poorly? My mother-in-law's goodwill caused tears to rise up in my eyes. She comforted me softly over the phone while I wept. Alara, my spouse and I have the highest concern for your welfare. You own Jackson's parents as well. It is not appropriate to act in such a harsh manner, as a father or a son. Please, Alara, concentrate on having a happy, healthy baby. But believe us when we say that having a child while going through a divorce is not a good idea. Depend on us. My mother-in-law appeared to have a strategy. Practically, I had no one else to turn to, so I chose to heed her advice. My spouse continued sending packages to our house, and they kept coming. The majority of them were accessories, apparel, and fashion-related things for young ladies. There were even branded bags. These were probably purchases made by my spouse. Our house seemed crowded with all of the packages. My mother-in-law was taken aback when she visited and inquired about the circumstances. My spouse and I agreed that it was okay for me to ask for their assistance, because I was expecting and would only be visiting for a short while. My in-laws have informed me that neither he nor my spouse have made touch with them or turned up for work. It seems that he is depleting his days of paid leave. My in-law's father is enraged that his son isn't speaking. As a professional and as a human being, he's a disgrace. Dad, please don't scold him without hearing the whole story. But what he's doing isn't morally acceptable. That is accurate. I never imagined him to be this way. I thus made the decision to carry out the top-secret scheme my in-laws had revealed to me. I called my spouse one day and said I needed to talk to him about something crucial about the divorce. He contacted me again with a blocked number, immediately putting me in danger. Well, have you submitted the divorce papers I sent? Not yet. Then what's this important matter? Will you agree to the divorce if you accept certain conditions? Why such a haughty and arrogant attitude? Are you implying that without my salary, you couldn't exist? And we decided to pay alimony of 5 cents, correct? We never agreed to anything like that. No documented confirmation is available. Mom, why are you here? Your dad is also present. Is it okay for me to change the call? The phone was on speaker for me. The exchange was transparent to my in-laws. At last, my father-in-law said something. You lost your job because of me. And Sophia, that secretary as well. Hey, wait a second. This cannot be merely thrown at me. Alara was unexpectedly hit with something much worse. This is insignificant. It's not necessary to go that far. I'm unsure of what action I should take going forward. Consider Alara. She's experienced worse. I spoke out even though I was embarrassed by my husband's perplexity. Not a single dime will I give you. So, is that appropriate? I'm fine, but... Huh? I'm pregnant. I never heard about that. There was no right moment to tell you. But you won't get any alimony. That is as a result of its lack of record. I'll prevail if we fight. No, I was unaware of that. I never had an opportunity to tell you. I was aware of my pregnancy at the time of your assignment. You're not just unemployed already. You will provide appropriate child support and alimony to Alara and the kid. You'll work out the rest. Your severance compensation is simply a drop in the ocean. I made a mistake, Dad. I'll look after Alara and the child and end my relationship with Sophia. Please don't let me go. It's too late. I'm disappointed in you. Go start fresh with your new woman. Alara will stay with us for a while. If you want to come back, you can stay with you. Alara has nowhere else to go. Besides, she's been treated horribly by her own husband. We'll take care of her. Alara won't be comfortable here either, so once you've paid her enough, she can leave. Jackson, that's how it is. You're the one who put these ideas in their head. This is outrageous. I haven't done anything. Your parents have been considerate of me and the baby. Clearly devastated, my husband hung up the phone without saying another word. A few days ago, I received the divorce papers from my husband and had my in-laws sign as witnesses. I've already submitted them. It's heartwarming to see my in-laws, who should technically be strangers, stand by my side. My ex-husband hasn't contacted me, and I've entered the final month of my pregnancy. Although alimony and child support haven't arrived, my former in-laws have stepped in to cover those expenses. They assured me that they'll collect the owed amount from Jackson. I gave birth to a healthy baby boy a little earlier than the due date. He closely resembles my ex-husband, and even my former in-laws seem convinced that he is Jackson's child. Despite the unconventional circumstances, we've been living this way for 3 years now. Watching our son grow happily day by day brings us immense joy. One day, Jackson contacted his parents. When they spoke, it turned out that Jackson had been rejected by Sophia. Desperate to see our child, since then, he'd lost a significant portion of his severance pay and was living a precarious life akin to a part-time worker. For someone who had grown up in comfort, this lifestyle had become unbearable. Essentially, he was reaching out to his father for financial help. My former father-in-law swiftly shut down Jackson, insisting that he repay the money owed to me. However, Jackson lacked the courage to face the situation head-on. Eventually, my former father-in-law relented, allowing Jackson to return to the company, starting from the bottom, with the condition that he support me. Fast forward 4 years, Jackson's child support payments have finally stabilized, but his current job doesn't leave much room for financial flexibility. He works during the day and takes on night shifts. Interestingly, my former in-laws and I have legally adopted each other, making my son their official grandchild. In exchange, they've effectively severed the parent-child relationship with Jackson. Although it doesn't alter the official records, my parents are overjoyed. Next year, when our son enters 1st grade, they are enthusiastically choosing school supplies such as shoes, bags, and notebooks. Once our son starts school, I plan to actively seek employment and contribute to society. I can't rely on my parents forever. Besides, I feel more suited to working outside the home than being a stay-at-home mom. While I might still lean on my parents a little, I'm determined to live as a single mother with my son. I will never let my son become like my ex-husband, who was a scoundrel.